What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back in the video. It's Monday, so time, and it's time for the Mock Draft Monday. It was heavily requested that I go to the 12 pick. You guys are complaining about how hard a late first round pick is, and I agree. This season, you do not want a late first round pick. I've been kind of up and down on exactly what you want to do. I'm going to give a full take here in a second of where you want to be in the draft, but I want to say, just so I don't forget, this is a 12-team full PPR draft, and it's regular roster settings for 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex spot, 4-point passing touchdown. Okay. In general, this season, there are 8 top players. I actually didn't even look if they do have it. Okay. Every platform should basically have the same top 8 players. In Christian McCaffrey, I still think should be the 101, even with the cash strain. If it gets to be a problem later in camp where they're like, yeah, he might miss time, now we can start moving him down, I'd still take him 101 in pretty much every format. Unless it's like full PPR, 3 wide receivers starts to get tricky there where you want wide receivers. But for the most part, grab McCaffrey and you're good. You're going to have McCaffrey. You're going to have Lamb and Tyreek Hill as these top wide receivers. You're going to have Bijan and Breece Hall after them. I'm totally fine if you want to take Bijan, Breece Hall, even 2-3. If you really want to take them 2-3 because you need to lock up running back, you know there's so many wide receiver values after that, totally fine doing that, right? But you're going to have those players. Then you're going to have Jefferson, Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those 8 will be off the board in the top 8 unless you are in an uncompetitive draft or someone makes a mistake and reaches. So you get through 8, right? Now you're sitting here at 9. That's a terrible spot because you're like, okay, so I guess I'm going either like Gibbs if I want a running back. I'm going with one of A.J. Brown or Garrett Wilson because I wouldn't reach on Puka given his injury right now. But even if it didn't, I'd still prefer Garrett Wilson over Puka. But those decisions will also be made before 12, right? Someone's probably going to look at Gibbs. Someone's probably going to look at A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson. And you might be sitting here at the 12 being like, okay, sick. I have Puka Nacua, who still has Cooper Kupp breathing down his throat and is also coming off an injury. And I have to probably take one of these running backs. Probably the best case, to be honest with you. I'll probably take one of these running backs. If not, I'm forcing 2 wide receivers, and I'm just in a way worse spot than everyone else. So we will talk through all the strategy there, but yes, late first round is the worst spot to be in. I do think 8, honestly, is a pretty decent spot because you're guaranteed the last of what is probably Amon-Ra St. Brown in most formats, but maybe you get lucky and you get Bijan or Breece there. Would you at least lock in a tier 1 player? But if you want like a top, like the 5th pick would also guarantee that, right? You would guaranteed one of Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall. You're guaranteed one of those players. So you're either getting one of the clear top 2 wide receivers or you are getting one of the clear top 3 running backs. After that, it is really just format. It is how risky you want to play it. It is if you want to go running back or wide receiver, where exactly you go. But yeah, like pick 8, pick 5 are strong. Top 3 pick guarantees 1 and 3 running backs. Top 4 pick probably does that as well. So depends what you want to do there. Okay. That is enough rambling. We will start off. That was just a general strategy take for this season. Let's try and build a good team from a bad spot in the draft. So, first 8 players do go off the board. As we thought, jumbled around exactly what order they got taken in, but the top 8 went in the top 8. After that, it was Gibbs, as we talked about, JT, which you'll see a lot. People want to lock up that running back, and then A.J. Brown, which I think by ADP, he is going over Garrett Wilson. So everything there makes complete sense. We are at this pick. Good. I turned off the time so we can actually talk about what is going on here. If we look at projections and value, and it's something I want to look into a little bit, I think maybe when you watch this video, I've done it already. I think I want to boost running back value a little bit more in these early rounds because projection wise, if you just look at pure value, the pick here is going Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. That's like the value, right? Theoretically, very, very small difference in value between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Saquon Barkley. So and given, most people understand strategy, understand double-digit wide receiver here, probably doesn't make very much sense. But I want to move up these running backs, I think, because it is really valuable starting off with a running back in these drafts. So what would I do? If this was my league and I'm sitting here, I'm not leaving this pick without a running back. There are going to be so many picks that go by here. I love so many wide receivers in the middle rounds. I love tight ends. I love quarterbacks in the middle rounds. I love some of the running backs, but there's a very real chance I'd start this draft and I'd be in round 8 before I really want a running back again. And I can't have that, right? I don't want to go pure RB0. Even though it's full PPR, it's a little bit more viable. So I want a running back with one of these picks. If we look at running back, my top options here are Saquon Barkley. I have a drop, so Saquon Barkley down to Devon Achane. It's probably not in our best interest to draft Devon Achane at 13th overall if his ADP is 24th. Like, you just got to be like, no, I'm not doing that. Also, the rankings have him at 22, so like, we're not taking him. And it means we're only taking one running back. And even if I maybe would have taken a wide receiver before, we're at the turn, doesn't matter which order we do it in, I would take Saquon Barkley. I wouldn't leave this spot without Saquon Barkley. I understand the concerns about his workload in the fact that he might not get very many goal line touches. It's a great offense. It's a good offensive line. I think it's like the second rated offensive line this season still, even with departure of Kelsey. Receptions will be there. Not amazing, but they'll be there. He will score touchdowns. He is going to be featured. He's a great pick. So take him. Again, I don't think we go after running back. I think we just pray for a running back we like in these other rounds. Quarterback, it's way too early. Tight end, it's way too early. So we do just end up taking our top wide receiver. Top wide receiver, again, for me, is Garrett Wilson. I love the target share he's going to have this season. I love the talent. I have concerns, genuine concerns, that Cooper Kupp will outscore Puka Nacua this season. So I think Garrett Wilson over Puka Nacua. All right, great. First two picks. I don't think too bad. Do I like other people's build better? Certainly. I like Team 8 here. Team 8 here has Bijan Robinson, Marvin Harrison Jr. I prefer that to what I have. Look at all these teams. Tyreek Hill and Travis Etienne. Probably would. I probably would prefer that duo. So we need to understand for the rest of this draft, we're behind simply because we randomly got pick 12. Well, I picked it, of course, for the video, but we randomly got that pick in the draft. So do things that might be different. Do things that if things hit, if things work out your way, you can really, really benefit and build a super team. Always make that in the back of your mind. So after our pick, Laporta and Kelsey go. We see three quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. We see not that many running backs, but Kyron, Etienne, Jacobs, Henry, Achane, and Pacheco go. And there is a drop-off after Pacheco. And then a lot of wide receivers. I'm not going to list all of them, but they're all the wide receivers you'd imagine would go off the board. So if we look at quarterback, no. I mean, I'd have considered probably Mahomes. I love Mahomes so much this season, but these top three quarterbacks are gone. I don't think we need to go to Lamar, to Stroud, to Richardson. I think we wait till that 5-6 turn, see if someone there we like. I'd also probably wait on tight end. If we were in like the later fourth round, I'd like that a little bit more. Or if, Laporta or Kelsey were there, I would wait past that range. So running back. I will look at the running back rankings here. Again, like I said, there's a drop off after this, like Pacheco. Derrick Henry as well is obviously worse in full PPR, but Pacheco, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, big drop off. I have the last one of them projected at 211.9, then Jacobs at 204.6. So not a crazy drop, I guess, but I mean, I do have it like as over a round. It's a little bit over a round of difference. So my top guy is, Jacobs is gone. Okay, I was going to say, where is Jacobs? I would have had Jacobs there. He's gone. So the next best, I mean, we're looking at Rachaad White at this point. Top in the rankings, top in ADP. Always want to kind of have that duo there. So he makes sense for us here. Now, I don't love Rachaad White this season. He is better in full PPR. You get to capitalize on that receiving upside. But I like Bucky Irving. I think Bucky Irving is definitely, unless he gets hurt, going to take more touches than their terrible combinations had last season. Rachaad White's not an efficient player, so he's going to have to gain a lot of efficiency. We're losing Dave Canales. Like, there's a lot of things where I'm like, don't love it. Fine, if you wanted to go there. I don't think I will. In the first 4 rounds, you should be in love with every one of your picks. If I'm not in love with my late 3rd round pick, what am I doing, right? So even if someone becomes top in the rankings or something like that, don't do it. He's not top in the rankings, though. What is top in the rankings are all of these wide receivers. I think at this point, you can't pass on wide receiver, and it's why you can't double dip at wide receiver at that 1-2 turn. If anything, I'd have loved to grab Gibbs and Barkley. Gibbs and JT would be amazing. JT and Barkley. I would love to double dip there if it's possible, which is, again, why I kind of want to increase running backs in the rankings, because there's so many good wide receiver values later on. Still love Garrett Wilson. He's still going to be awesome for us, but the value here is now in wide receiver. Waddle's on the board. Pittman, Neighbors, Kupp, Metcalf, Devonta Smith. I mean, that is an insane cast of wide receivers. I very much wish I could grab 4 of those guys. In full PPR, I have the rankings among those players. Pittman Devonta Smith. No, wait, where's Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp, then Pittman, then Devonta Smith, then Malik Neighbors, then Jalen Waddle. So, Cooper Kupp. Devonta Smith is not going to be there at the next pick. I was wondering if there's a theoretical chance we could have gotten him. It does also stink. So another reason why turn picks kind of stink at times is you don't typically get as much value. When you're sitting there at 5 or 8, you can play ADP games so much. You can say, okay, I think there's maybe a 60% chance this player can actually make it back to me in the next pick. Yeah, it's so difficult to actually predict that at this turn here. So it's another part of strategy that a lot of people don't even consider that you just kind of can't do, because it's like, how am I supposed to predict who's going to be available at the 5-12 when I'm sitting here at the 3-12? It's just very, very difficult to do. So you kind of just have to draft based off your rankings. Again, I'm going to go Cooper Kupp. I'm going to go Michael Pittman Jr. It's a great start for us. And part of what I said before is we want to do something different. We want to put together a build that really could excel. Hero is one of those builds, right? Hero RB, drafting that running back, loading up everything else around it, assuming Barkley has a season that we know Saquon Barkley is capable of. He gets, 1,700 total yards. He racks up 50 receptions. He scores 12 touchdowns. He's a rock solid running back 1. We're hoping that happens to a running back 2 we can kind of figure out, and we don't have to invest heavily in it. Team 11 here is going straight RB0. I mean, AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, DJ Moore, Metcalf, Higgins. Ill-advised, I would say, taking 2 bench wide receivers, but you do you. Okay, again, the team. Saquon, Garrett Wilson, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman Jr. Love it. Top quarterbacks on the board. Richardson is still there. So after our Pittman pick, Stroud and Lamar go, we see a bunch of tight ends, unfortunately. Would have loved to double-dip quarterback tight end here. Kincaid, McBride, Andrews, Kittle, and then Pitts, 2 pick before us, go off the board. Then like an even-ish mixture of running back, wide receiver, a little bit more running back, or a little bit more wide receiver than running back. Okay. Anthony Richardson is probably going to be a pick that we make at this spot. If you look at the projections, he projected at 406. We're at 512. He is an awesome pick. He also fits the bill of league winner. I want a league winner. I'm at a negative spot, right? I'm at this terrible spot of the draft where I need something to go right. If Anthony Richardson hits and he scores 28 points per game, which is in his range of outcomes this season, paired with Pittman, I am locked and I am loaded in this draft. So I think we're probably going to go with him, but we'll just see what else is everywhere else. Running back. Aaron Jones, David Montgomery is not good in full PPR. DeAndre Swift, Stevenson. It's a little bit gross. I do want to see who I have first there. It is Aaron Jones. That's what I thought. I also have him projected at 61, which is where his ADP is there. It's 601. We'd be at 601. So, I have him being this is a solid pick here. And at that, second running back spot, I don't know if he can stay healthy all season. I don't know how good the Vikings are going to be, but I think they're going to be better than people think. I think there's a chance they do feature Aaron Jones until he gets injured. Is it a lock? No. Does it have significant upside if it hits? Yes. And that's what I want in this draft. At wide receiver, still amazing picks on the board. I'm crossing my fingers, though. What if we look down to this range? Calvin Ridley, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood, Ladd, Deontay, Watson, JSN. Great picks that I think have a chance to be there. Next one, for us to take McLaurin, Kirk, Odunze, Keenan Allen here, it'd be fine. Rashee Rice would be a great pick as well. But it's our first bench player, and there's such good opportunity in other spots. I wouldn't go there, and I would not take tight end. So process of elimination, you go with Anthony Richardson. You go with Aaron Jones. I like this start a lot. I think it has upside. I think it is risky enough, right? Having Cooper Kupp, having Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, Anthony Richardson on the same team. You're asking for one of them to get injured, but it's okay. Everyone here has significant upside, especially in a full PPR format. Some of them are going to hit, and that's what matters. Again, everyone, it's is scared to lose their draft, but in doing that, I'm not saying you're guaranteeing you're not going to win, but if you're too scared to take shots on players who have the upside to be true league winners, I think Scott Barrett calls it oligarchs, calls it his Exodia picks. You got to hit on league winners. I have that tab up on the website, again, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. You can look at the rankings, you can look at must-draft players, but you can also look at historical research. I scraped through hundreds of thousands of teams. I've done millions of teams on Sleeper, and I'll talk about that in a few videos a little later on, to look at draft strategy, but also look at league winners and say, okay, what kind of difference did people make? When you hit on a player at their ADP, like you draft someone as a running back 20, they finish 20th. You slightly outperform. You draft someone 20th, they finish 15th. You get edges, right? It's like, oh, he adds a 5%, 10% chance of making the playoffs increase. That's not really what gets it done, though. You don't get all these small wins to add up to the big wins. You crush it with one pick. You draft a player who it's like, oh, yeah, they increase your playoff rate by 50%. Some crazy stat, like over 50% of championship teams had like McCaffrey last season. Like when you hit on players like that, where it's one player, irrespective of anything else you did, gets you that far, it's way better than slightly outperforming even every single pick in your draft. So you have to be taking these chances. It is worth maybe missing on someone like Cooper Kupp, like Anthony Richardson, because when they hit, Cooper Kupp's the number one wide receiver in the NFL, and Anthony Richardson is the number one scoring quarterback. Imagine that sort of hit, given how we've started off this draft. Okay, I promise I won't bore you with the upside cases, the upside theory anymore. Okay, after our pick, Ingram and Brock Bowers goes a little bit too early. And then some quarterbacks go, but we don't care about quarterbacks. Decent mix of running back, wide receiver. Again, more wide receiver than running back. It is full PPR. That makes sense to us. We're not taking quarterback. At this pick, we're starting to consider Njoku and Ferguson. But I have that at like 805 as a preference. And so if we're at 712, 801, we're just a little bit early for these two. So we'll consider it, and it would be Ferguson in this format. Wide receiver, kind of want to double dip. We have potential difference makers here. Hollywood, Deontay, JSN, Christian Watson, Jameson Williams, although I'll say the last two, not as much in full PPR. But, I mean, Deontay just screams slam dunk pick this late in the draft. I was really hoping one of those other guys would fall, but I mean, I have Deontay at 5'10 in this format. We're at 712. I don't need to consider it. I'm taking Deontay Johnson with that pick. After him, it's Marquise Brown, who I have at 701. So not as amazing of a value, but still a very, very strong value. At running back, though, I just want to make sure. I also have Najee as a pretty decent value right now. I have Brooks as a solid value, not amazing. I think my gut is telling me to go with Najee. Likely still the running back one on this team. Going to have receptions. Going to be a very run-heavy team, especially in the red zone. He's got upside. Do I love the efficiency? No. Do I wish Warren had more touches? Yes. But Najee's probably still going to lead this team in touches. He's probably still going to lead this team in touchdowns. And there's upside here for this offense. So I think I want to do that instead of double dipping a wide receiver. So if you want to take wide receiver, go for it. I'm going to do the gross thing and take Najee Harris. I just think it works out a little bit better for our team. Garrett Wilson, Cooper Kupp, Pittman, Deontay Johnson. We've taken our fifth wide receiver. I would rather, having missed out on running back for a little bit, having the risk of Aaron Jones, let's take two shots. One of Aaron Jones or Najee Harris is going to work out for us this season, at least for chunks of the year while we kind of figure things out. I would rather take two shots there. Okay. We're going to get Tyjae Spears. Okay, and so this is interesting too. So, clearly in my mind, top two, Tyjae Spears, Chase Brown. I just think both of those two are, especially in full PPR, set up exceptionally well. Receptions can be there. Explosive, young players. I'll say an ascending offense for the Titans and still a very strong offense for the Bengals. Ton of upside. And when I look at all the other picks at running back after them, there's nothing. I mean, it is all pure handcuffs. It is all players who could do absolutely nothing this season. Had I known, maybe we would have gotten Hollywood that last pick, but we'll take a look at it. But Spears, Chase Brown, two great picks. We're not taking a backup quarterback. Tight end, we're kind of in the range where it's like at this point, I'm just double dipping late. All these tight ends are kind of the same. Let's just take two late. Let's not waste a mid-round pick here on tight end. I love Jameson Williams, but in full PPR, he doesn't help us as much. I think just the clear option here is you take Tyjae Spears, you take Chase Brown, and you say, okay, look at this team. Do I even need another running back? Probably not. I'm probably done. Saquon, Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, Tyjae Spears, Chase Brown. I'm done with the running back position. I can go back. What I would probably do is double dip on wide receiver, then double dip on tight end. Then when week 1 came across, also it's a 14-round draft. Realistically, most of you are in 15-round drafts at least have that defense in there with round 15. So we'll pretend I think I accidentally made this a 14-round draft. Pretend there's 15 rounds and I would take a defense with the last round. Most of you are going to have that 14th round pick to double dip on tight end. So I think the option here is we go in, bring this back up. We go in and we say, try and pull up a little bit more of it there for you guys. Do we want the tight end? In which case, maybe. Okay, so the tight ends I like. We'll just click them. Pat, Musgrave, Otten, Taysom, Likely, Henry, Conklin, Fant. I don't know that we need to go past that in redraft, but I also like Gesicki, Jonnu, and Tucker Kraft. But again, redraft, I don't know if we need to go there. So options for us, obviously. Wide receiver. Palmer. Shaheed. I already had starred, but Cooks. Wicks. Pearsall. Polk. Let me take a shot on Dotson. Douglas in full PPR wouldn't be terrible. Redraft, I'm not sure. You need to go past that range. Other ones that I like would be Mims, Robinson, McMillan would probably be my favorites, and Tolbert. But I think the best move here is to just double dip. So we will take the top two. The top two would be Palmer, and I would say in full PPR, your next best option is probably Brandon Cooks. So go those two, click on over to tight end, pull this down here so you guys can see everything that's popping up. Does it feel like it's taking a lot longer than it did in the previous ones? I feel like it is. But anyways, we will take 2 tight ends, and then we'll get on out of here in the draft. So top 2 tight ends, I would say, would be taking your shot on Taysom Hill and then getting a more stable option in probably Noah Fant. I would say you take Noah Fant. He's a more traditional tight end pick. If you wanted to go with Taysom Hill, totally fine doing that. I have Taysom Hill ranked higher. I think in a full PPR league, he gets hurt a little bit more, but there's significant upside with Taysom Hill this season. In a league where you can start him at tight end, which this one is saying we can, I grade him out similarly to Dallas Goedert. That is significant value this late on. So I think this was a great draft. I really like this team, really like the upside. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and let me know what you think, what you would have done differently, again, from the 12 pick. Very difficult spot to draft from, but I think we did a good job with that. So going live tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern. Come to that with questions. That, my friends, is the end of this one. Thanks for watching.